to speak. At the 2-minute, 30-second mark, our parliamentarian, Commissioner Devine, will cue you to start wrapping up your comments. Board will not respond on tonight, but we will respond to you in writing in 7 to 10 business days. First, we have Mr. George Crouch.
Good evening, Board.
Good evening.
Members of the audience and my friends on YouTube. Tonight, my Christmas present to you is that I'm going to conclude season 1 of Why Won't Richland 1 Let Me Use My Vibby? The last time we met, Richland 1 and Richland 2 both restricted the use of the third-party app Vibby, but a perfect storm developed in Richland 2. First, the communication director, Libby Roof, resigned. Greg Terchetta was hired as the replacement for Libby as the communication director, and Baron Davis left as superintendent of Richland 2. My friend, who had consistently asked that the restriction at Richland 2 for the Vibby app be removed, asked Greg, and Greg did it immediately. So now Richland 1 has the distinct honor of being the only Midland school district that's blocking third-party apps on YouTube. And to add icing to the cake, if you access Richland 1's YouTube channel, you pick any video except a board meeting, and my Vibby works perfectly. 0 restrictions. So the block is exclusively to board meetings. And like I've always said, this is just weird. I've come to the conclusion that while blocking Vibby is problematic for me, it is symptomatic of a larger issue. And this issue is not earth-shattering, it's just transparency. So here are some other examples of the district constantly hampering access to information: requests for exit interviews, requests for data on teacher vacancies, data on certified, non-certified teachers, onerous fees on FOIA requests, clarity on an early learning center that is at best cloaked in unanswered questions, request to lift third-party restrictions on Richland board meeting YouTube videos. And the excuses? Well, that playbook is pretty extensive. We don't need a perfect storm here at Richland. We need transparency and openness. That, I believe, starts at the top and works its way down. Without openness and transparency, clarity becomes clouded, and that cloud brings a host of questions. And questions, if not answered, clearly breeds mistrust. So what we need in 2024 is a trust and transparency matrix developed by AI and customized for Richland 1, and there's more on that later. But we are out of time. I'm going to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And we'll return in 2024 with season 2. And I'm thinking about naming it, well, we'll just wait for 2024. So see you next year. Everybody have a great Christmas and New Year. Thank you.
Not tonight. This is a business meeting of the Board of Commissioners that is held in the public. And we're going to ask that y'all please be respectful of that. Anyone that is signed up to speak, I ask that you address the board and not the audience, because you're talking to the board. We want to hear what you have to say, so please address it to us. We're not running a show here. We're trying to conduct the business of our district. So if you would please work with us, we would greatly appreciate it. Next, we have signed up Scott Barber.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm here this week, as I've been the past couple weeks, to find out if there's any new information about the HR research that's been happening. My letter last week simply said the HR department is researching, which is not very helpful, right? Is there a date that we can get of when we're going to have some data? Because as you know, we're coming up. I mean, before you know it, the end of the second quarter is going to be here. And the same data that was used to justify the transition of the teachers in the first quarter, are we expecting to transfer teachers again in the second quarter? Without that, we don't know. I was very fortunate last time too to see the presentation about the CTE program. Those gentlemen did a phenomenal job. That program is infectious, right? I think it was recognized as that too, right? It makes you want to get involved. So one of the things that I did after last session was try to get involved. I tried to understand the data that was being presented, specifically the mobility rate, 50 to 60% that we're quoting, and what does that truly mean? I made some phone calls. I talked to Miss Eva Miller, who referred me to Dr. Miner, both of which were very cordial and helped and talked with me. At some point, at digging in a little deeper, I needed more data. At that point, I got FOIA'd. The communication stopped and said, I'm sorry, we don't have any more data. All the data we have is on the website. If you want any more information, you have to submit a FOIA request. So I've done that. Right now, I'm sitting here waiting, right? And that may be, I'm going back to last year and this year. So, you know, I hope we'll get some information. But I really want to understand, and I hope the board understands what that data truly means. Right? Does 50% mean 50% of 100 kids, 50 out of 100 kids are actually moving? Or does it mean 25 came in and 25 went out? Or does it mean 50 registered on time and then the other 50 showed up late? If you run some numbers through that, 250 students who registered on time, 200 that register after day 2, you automatically have a 47% mobility rate. So the devil's in the details. And I just want to make sure I'm trying to help.
30 seconds.
I'd love to understand it, right, as we look at that. And that is one example of community helping. The board has expressed, we're here to help, we're here to answer questions. That goes against what I just experienced, right? We're coming up on a 1-year anniversary of another inquiry, you know, where the community was helping out. You know, this past year, the board or the district reduced their spending in one category by $2.4 million because they
Time is up.
Thank you so much, Mr. Barber. Again, we will respond to you in writing in 7 to 10 business days. Next, we have Louis Davis, I'm sorry. Okay.
Hello, commissioners. Thank you for having me. My name is Louise Davis. This is my daughter, Skylar Davis, and she attends Creighton Middle School. And my reason for coming here today is that I've been having some complaints with Creighton Middle School that I have brought to the attention of the administrators. And more recently, in October, the school has farm out method, where if there's a teacher not available, rather than getting a substitute, they distribute students to different classes. These are not the children's normal class. In October, my daughter had a disagreement with one of the children that was not even scheduled to be in her class. Her teacher was not even made aware that there was a disagreement until I brought it to the attention of the administrator after the weekend. I did bring this situation up to the executive director, and I'm just concerned that Creighton Middle School has too many children at the school, not enough administrator support. More recently, my daughter was in a fight in November. She was in a fight while she was with a teacher, and she got suspended for 4 days. She was only supposed to be suspended for 3 days. I brought this to the attention of the administrator and the executive director. They had made some errors in their student code of conduct handbook. I requested an appeal. After careful observation, they said that my appeal was granted. Suspension was removed. I want Creighton Middle School to not have children suspended as the first resort. I want interventions in place for students when they do have disagreements. When my daughter returned back to school, no one said anything. No one even cared, to my understanding. And so this situation can continue to happen. On today, there was another farm out. My daughter was in someone else's class and another altercation broke out. And I tried to contact an administrator. No one was available. No guidance counselor. I had to stop what I was doing and go to that school to support my daughter. I am asking for your help with this middle school.
30 seconds.
Thank you.
Again, Ms. Davis, we won't respond on tonight, but we will respond to you in writing. Thank you. Next, Robin Smith.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Board of Directors, Dr. Witherspoon. Good to see you this night. I'm actually coming today. I did want to follow up because I have not gotten my October 15th letter. I'm not sure if the letter I received was to address both dates, but I did want to bring that up. And I did also want to bring up, it does appear that on the agenda tonight, the naming facilities is on there. It doesn't say which school, but I am hoping that it is Lower Richland. I am glad to see that because I had not seen it on board docs. I did want to speak tonight to, let me just say that I understand the directors, as well as Dr. Witherspoon, can't control everything. That is understandable. But I do believe the things that we can and probably should be able to handle should actually be taken care of. I noticed that in the district, when I come to these meetings, I listen and I hear that poverty is a major concern and is a problem within this district. And that's part of the reason we have teachers who don't want to come here or may not want to teach. However, what I have been able to obtain is that as of January 2023, we had 687 openings in this district. As of January 1st, 2023, there was 1,468 applicants. So the fact that poverty is a precursor to why we don't have teachers in this district does not appear to be true. It would appear as though we just need to actually hire the applicants that actually apply, because that would actually cover more than double the applicants that we have in this district. The other part that I wanted to speak to tonight was also, in this district, I have been told poverty again is a precursor for a lot of things. But in Richland 1, our poverty index is 76.3%. Richland 2 is 59.1. Lexington is 46.1. Lexington 2 is 77.8. Lexington 3 is 70. But what was interesting to me is that Lexington 4 is higher than ours at 81.2. Fairfield is at 85.2, and Orangeburg is at 84.4. The one thing that I noticed is that those schools that have a higher poverty index than us actually have 0 below average or unsatisfactory schools. All of those schools are below our average, where we have 7 below schools and 6 unsatisfactory. So it would appear as though maybe poverty shouldn't be the focus of how we can improve our district, but we probably need to put those
Time
efforts
is up.
Thank you. Again, we will respond to you in writing, Mrs. Smith. Next, we have Troy Green.
How are the children? The children are not well. How are the children? The children are not well. Why are the children not well? Because those who tend to the children are not well. The last few months, we have heard over and over again how leadership have defended and justified the ridiculous circus that has overshadowed the decent employees of the district. We have watched even to the point of turning this into a black-white issue, which is not about that. But the most sickening is the administration and the board has allowed prominent leaders of our community to speak out in defense of the district when we know it is not all good in the hood. How can you, with any level of integrity, and lead those to blindsided into a gunfight? You have heard from those on the educational side. Now it's time to hear from those on the operational side of the district. Those who handle the day-to-day operations and see how we are systematically a dysfunctional organization. Many would have come tonight, and speak, but because of fear of retaliation from certain members of the board, fear of their careers being blackballed by the administration, and some even fear in losing their job. So I agreed to stand as a representative for those on behalf, and the time comes when they will be able to stand freely without fear of retaliation and have their voices heard. On August 10th, 1894, a man by the name of George Washington Murray stood in the halls of the U.S. Congress and spoke on the intelligence of the African American men and women. See, during this time, there was a popular theory among the whites in the United States, and the reason why blacks were oppressed was because of our own ignorance and incompetence. This man, George Washington Murray, the first and only black member of the United States Congress, known as the Black Eagle of Sumter, South Carolina, spoke on behalf of every black person in the country to prove that theory wrong. I am the great-grandson of Janie Murray Lloyd, who was the niece of George Washington Murray. It is an insult to me and my family, so hard to demyth all the speculation by African Americans. I, along with other classified employees of the district, have decided enough is enough.
30
and
seconds.
We are asking the board and administration again to do the right thing. To Dr. Witherspoon, the truth is always with us. To the board, the only thing that stands between you and the truth is the desire. Do you desire to know the truth? Do you desire to find the truth? And once you know the truth, do you have the desire to act on the truth? There's no need for a response in 7 to 10 days. Within 7 to 10 days, it was said in the last board meeting that if you're going to bring a problem, bring the solution.
Time is up.
Again, the board won't respond on tonight, Mr. Green, but we will respond in 7 to 10 business days. Next, we have Mr. John Black.
Back in October, a convoluted flyer was created and distributed on social media that issued a report card on Dr. Witherspoon. Of course they gave him an F. Why? Because in 2018, 16 schools were rated unsatisfactory or below average. In 2019, that dropped to 13. Then COVID happened, and there's no use reliving those years because everyone knows what happened. The state didn't issue another report card on schools until 2022, where the numbers jumped back to 18, to which Richland 1 wasn't alone in that jump. Now, when the 2023 report was issued, that number went from 18 unsatisfactory or below average, it dropped back to 13. That's a reduction of 5 schools, which brought the district back to pre-COVID level. In 1 year's time, we had 5 schools improve. Now, I'm no math expert, but going from 18 underperforming to 13 seems to me that isn't a failure. That's progress. And if things continue moving in the direction they are, we're looking at even less underperforming schools when the report card is issued next year. Facts don't lie. People don't like the facts because it's so much easier to go on the attack. And that's what always seems to happen. Attack, attack, attack. As commissioners elected to represent the interests of parents and stakeholders within the district, you have a duty and a responsibility to do what is best for all students. If you don't like something, what do you propose to your fellow commissioners, and how are you working to resolve the issues or work together for a solution? Because people are always talking transparency. We don't see it. All we see is attack. Being a constant no vote or abstaining is a total neglect of your
30
responsibilities.
seconds.
And for the life of me, I don't understand how anyone can consider that being a change maker. What does a change maker mean? Simply put, a change maker is someone who is taking creative action to solve a social problem. Stop being naysayers. A change maker isn't someone that sits up here and votes down everything or abstains or getting closer in
Time
the
is up.
Again, Mr. Black, the board will not respond on tonight, but we will respond to you in writing in 7 to 10 business days. At this time, this concludes our public participation for this evening. We'll now move on